the fact that Adobe is already opening up their tools and allowing you to choose different models and import different models to use with their tools is incredible, and right, opens up the possibilities for something like supermodels to where like you create your unique algorithm, your creative DNA as a custom trained LoRa model that sits on top of these foundation models. And now the ecosystem is very quickly adopting this like plug and play architecture to where like you can use this foundation model with Adobe Firefly. Like, dude, is so exciting. And I'm so thrilled that like Adobe's already doing this, and that like it's already like that first domino has already fallen. Like, this is the way the entire space is going to continue to develop, and it's going to open up all sorts of cool possibilities. So anyway,
Yeah.
please continue.
And no. That's great that you mentioned that, because it's really exciting news for supermodels, because that's the goal, right? How can you take supermodels anywhere, everywhere you want, because it's yours? So just think of it this way. Think about you taking your own playlist into any club that you want, right? Because it's the playlist that you respond to, dance to, and feel more free to. Welcome to another Augmented Imagination podcast. Let's begin. What's up, John?
What up, man? Getting ready to get augmented, I think.
Oh, man. And do I feel augmented? This is week one, week one of me starting to work out. So I feel, look at that.
Oh, dude.
And
Yeah,
I need to
dude.
work on this one. Yeah. Week one and
the,
a
the
half.
the the right one's better.
The right one is better. Yeah. I'm a little bit unbalanced. But I don't want to show
It's
you
that
my
mouse
gut
arm,
because
dude.
I'm not
That
there.
mouse arm is just ripped. It's
Oh
just
man, totally. I vertical. This is not a sponsored product, but vertical mouse. Great for the biceps.
fancy. Nice,
Yeah.
dude. I was also
Uh,
complimenting you on your Rocco's Modern Life bandana, which is like a
oh
serious flex.
man, I am feeling nostalgic today. And plus, I remember, dude, like when I first saw the first designs for augmented imagination, it immediately made me think about Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, you
love the
pointed that out,
design.
and it's definitely got some of those vibes. And it's funny because as I was building the brand, I wanted to like em- embody some like sway, fun, creative energy in it. And that just sort of came out. And then you're like, oh, dude, I love Rocco's Modern Life. And you started sending me a bunch of like references from the artist and all sorts of stuff. So I definitely found an aesthetic that I think resonates with you.
Yeah, and the logo has evolved. We what about a week ago we updated our PFP and X
Yep.
banner,
Yep.
and that's how the cookie crumbles. Your
Yeah.
brand grows, you grow, design grows, everything evolves.
Dude, which is a great shout out for like how we approach building brands in the sort of like AI startup space, which is like just moves, it's the fastest moving industry ever, right?
Okay,
And we've just been sort of launching brands left and right as part of the different teams we're a part of. And one of the approaches I found that like the same way you're like being iterative with your products and your website and everything else, we essentially do the same with the brand, where like right out the gate, I try to get like a nice baseline, but you don't have time to like spend months building a bunch of assets and doing all this stuff. We're just
right,
doing it on the fly. So you will see our brand sort of like evolve and grow and expand over time. Um, and I sort of love working that way because it allows for kind of organic growth as opposed to like feeling like you can mastermind and master plan everything and put it together in this perfect little kit and then have it roll out in this, perfect way.
yeah,
We're very much just like, fuck it, we'll do it live
right.
mentality around here.
Dude, yeah, and I love it. And what I've learned about you is that when we do make those changes, we do them not because, hey, it's time to polish things up. We do it because it makes sense, right? It
Yep.
makes sense to recycle an old logo, an old design that you're really proud of, and have it fit to for something else, kind of like what
Yeah.
we did with supermodels. Sorry, phrase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Dude, and so
and
often when you do that, it's like, oh, this is what it was supposed to be for all along. Like you make these
right,
pieces and then you kind of like change things up. Um, Again, it's just kind of like the approach to brand building we've been taking. And at a certain point, right, you have to like solidify and systemize everything. But like we're a ways from that. We're still just like building in public the same way we're doing with this podcast, the same way we're doing with the product. So we're doing that with our brand as well. And hopefully people will be stoked on like watching that evolution, see the new pieces, see it sort
yeah.
of like stretch its legs a little bit.
And what's cool about that, dude, is like we are literally charging the object, at least internally, and we're giving
Yep.
that design life and meaning. And so what does like charge object mean is that when you look at something, whether it's a logo, a phone, a cup, like what does it mean to you,
Coffee
right?
mug.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, what that means to you and what's that design, right? Why is it so valuable to you? So that's what charge object means. And obviously, our goal is to like, for when you see the augmented imagination design, for it to mean something to you, for it to represent something. It's kind of like when you look at the old Windows logo and IBM and all the stuff that like Paul Rand did. It was like, yeah,
You want it to be beautiful on its own, but you also want it to be this like vessel that can just hold sort of meaning and emotion beyond the visual that you charge into it, you embed into it. Um, yeah, man, I love it. I love designing logos. I'll never get tired of
yeah.
it.
What's going on with supermodels?
Lots. So we met with our Kiwi collaborators. When was that? That was end of last week.
Yeah,
Shout out Jesse and Lenny, who have just been so awesome to work with, and really just kind of touched base and game planned around what we're doing next. What are the next steps? So we trained up this initial prototype based on that specific kind of illustration style I had, right? Got way better results and way more sort of flexible capabilities and a bigger tool set than we were really anticipating. You know, we thought about like, we'll train the style so you could do text to image. Maybe you could do like an image to your style. But Jesse right away, and he's just kind of the master of training up Laura's. He was behind like the
yeah,
Future Verse meme machine. Um, but right, not only got like text to image with the style transferring like perfectly, and again it's just this like clean vector style, like very abstracted from what you would get in like, you know, realism. So I was really impressed with those capabilities. But then he also got it set up to do image to illustration, which looks absolutely killer, will unlock crazy different workflows for people. The one I'm really excited about, which is sketch to fully rendered illustration. So if you're an illustrator, you still want to use your craft, you still want to control your composition, which like that's always been a big hang up for me with working with some of these generative tools is like, man, I want to be able to control the composition. I want to be able to dig into all these little details that most tools don't allow you to do up to this point.
yeah,
Like it's getting better. But being able to go from like a rough sketch to your fully executed, shaded, rendered out illustration style is crazy. So like that's a massive unlock. And then if that wasn't good enough, like say like the style we're trained up on, right, is it's vector based. It's all based on vector. So you could do that, get something feeling really good. Jesse got it hooked up to where you can then export as SVG. So if I wanted to do my sketch, have my fully rendered illustration happening in front of my eyes, but say I want to tweak some things after that, I can then download
wow,
that as an SVG, open it up in Illustrator, continue to modify it just the same way I would. So again, this is
yeah,
what we're all about. And one of the things we're just trying to like nail into people's heads is like, the creative process is alive and well, and this like idea from the outside world that like AI and generative tools are going to kill creativity and ruin the lives of artists is just nonsense. Like, if
Yeah.
you think that way, you're not thinking big enough, you're not thinking creative enough. And we really want to showcase that with these tools where it's like, no, continue to do what you're doing, continue to use your skill set, create these illustration styles, but then plug it into these tools so you can scale it 1000x, right? And still have the control you want. So, dude,
Dude,
I'm so stoked.
I can't wait for supermodels to really get in the hands of like a group of illustrators because like we're going to discover so many workflows that we can't even
Yep.
mention right now because there's so many. But I get
Yep.
and just to double click on what on that sketch to image feature, and for those who really don't understand what Johnny's talking about, like imagine that you're able to train this model with your body of work with a specific style, a specific illustration. So now you have your supermodel train on that and knows that the next output is going to be you, your DNA, right? Now you can incorporate a sketch to image workflow in it where everything you sketch will will the response will be your style, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then it's really up to you what you want to do with it. The output you can literally it's fine, ship it or export SVG. Let me do some tweaks. Maybe the AI hallucinated a little bit, got a fix here and there. Or
Yep.
this is really good. Let me trace on top of that and just refine it even more.
Turn it into video. Like,
Turn it
it's
into
just
video, dude.
insane, you know?
Dude, so many cool things that you could do with this. And again, it'll allow you to scale, allow you to think of like different creative ways and all the tools that are out there, you know, you'll be able to use with your supermodels, eventually.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really
Yep.
exciting, man.
So yeah, that's where the current prototype is at. The thing we chatted with Jesse and Lenny about last week was like, okay, we've got it to work, and now let's almost like really push it. So let's try out a bunch of different illustration styles. Let's try out a bunch of different use cases. Let's see, let's push the boundaries and see what we can really do. So we saw it worked well for this like clean vector illustration style. I've got some stuff, some brands I've worked on, again, like have some illustration assets that are more like hand drawn feeling, feel more
Mhm.
organic. So we're going to explore some of that stuff. We've been working with our buddy Phrase, who has like this incredible, really unique uh, sort of typography as image style he's been developing. I think he showed us a bunch of stuff when we met with him the other day. He said it's like, I've been doing this and developing this for like 15 years. So that is really gonna like, we're gonna try to train a model up on that and see if we can really push the boundaries of what's capable with this stuff. And then we're also beginning to talk to some friends here of mine that have like really big successful illustration studios to be like, yo, let's train up a model on some of these styles. Let's see the real world application, and let's expand out from there. So like, yeah, dude, we're just going to be pushing the sort of training and seeing what we can do, which is really exciting. And then sort of in parallel with that, right after that, it's like digging into product design and actually building this, this beta product, which is exciting,
Uh,
and it's just happening really quickly.
really fast. It's getting really good. And but we're not going to fool ourselves, right? We're going to stress test this thing. We're going to pressure
Mm-hmm.
test it because one of the feedbacks we got from Jesse is that your training data set was almost like too perfect, right? Every
Too clean.
aspect ratio was the same, too
Yeah.
clean, right? It's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
design was the same, so naturally the generations were going to be again clean. So we're going to do
Yep.
some further testing with different aspect ratios, different resolutions, different styles. Like Johnny said, we're going to test typography, more hand drawn stuff. And like we're even talking about like, man, how would supermodels look if we had like tattoo illustrators like using this?
Dude.
So oh man.
We've got some crazy conversations going with that, prompted by I mean, I think you initially suggested like, oh man, what could we do for tattoo artists? And then like moments later, Patrick's like, yo, I've been thinking about doing a sleeve, and I want to basically offer my body as a test to supermodels. So Patrick and I have been jamming on ideas of like, let's build a model for like Patrick's sleeve, right? Build
Yeah.
some content around that. And then Phrase, like moments later, posted this crazy new robo tattoo machine. I think it's called Black Dot, where they actually have these robotic tattoo machines now that right can
Oh,
actually apply
cool.
tattoos, and they can push the style of like you can do super fine intricate like geometric stuff in combination with like beautiful shaded stuff. So yeah, dude, the possibilities are endless. So we're just like,
That's the future, man.
yeah, we're just gonna start making a
Soon,
bunch of cool stuff and like sharing what happens with you all.
soon you'll be able to get your tattoo inside a Walmart, in one of those machines, just like you get your, just like you take your like blood pressure.
Like the salon. Yeah.
Yeah, just like you take your blood pressure, just go in, hit supermodel. Oh, I like this stuff. Get tatted that way. Cool. Yeah, we're thinking about all those things, and I have a list of here. It's like, man, commercial illustrators, storyboard illustrators, editorial, game animations. Like, oh man, we're thinking about all you guys, and
Yep.
give us some time and work with us. We'll love some suggestions, and we'll love any ideas that come to mind too. Like they're welcome to, because this is about community, and that's something that we always mention in every single podcast. We really can't bring this product to life without you guys. So if you're an illustrator, if you're a designer, and you have a basic understanding what we're trying to do with supermodels, hit us on the DMs, or send us an email. We're listening. Let's find out. Let's find out. Jonny, so we're creating all this content. We're building in public. We're telling the people like who we are, how we're feeling, what we're doing on the weekends, and how we're building this company, and our experiences with talking to investors and talking with our advisors and like talking with our wives and all that. And we want to be as transparent as possible, but we also want this content to have reach, right? So we're already thinking, how can we tell our story outside of X? We know that this podcast is living on YouTube, but this really hasn't been like a YouTube push. And there's other places that we want to be in, like Instagram and TikTok and all those really cool platforms. And we're thinking about doing like original content, wrapping some of these segments and like sending it your way. So for those who don't have time to listen to us ramble for like an hour, hopefully you have 15 minutes of your time where you can just either listen to a Supermodels update on a Wednesday, or get a little small recap of what happened on Friday Spaces if you can't make it, if it's, the time zone doesn't really cater to you. You can listen to what happened to a recap on a Monday. So we're thinking about all those things. And yesterday, right, we did like a content strategy plan with Patrick. What do you think of that, Jonny? Like, how do you feel?
Dude, it feels good. And it feels like, for anybody that's like doing this and right exploring, really serious about content creation, they definitely know how much work it is, because there's so many things to do and there's so much strategy involved with it. But the approach we've taken is almost right building this sort of funnel, starting
Yeah.
like mid funnel, which is this long form podcast, right, is a sort of like kind of flagship piece of content from us. The X Spaces, right, on Friday is a big piece of that. So we almost had this like mid funnel stuff, but now we're starting to take these longer form pieces of content and break it out into short form, so we have a broader top of funnel, right? So that'll go the short clips on X, getting more active on Instagram with reels and stuff, starting to explore TikTok. Right, there's so many networks now,
So
and there's
many.
different, like we've been talking about, like, man, there's just such different crowds and such different segments that you've got to like pepper things throughout, because like your
Yeah.
entire audience is not in one place. So right, we're at that first phase of like breaking out, mining the longer form content for the shorter form content, creating cool little clips, sending that across all of these different platforms. Shout out Patrick. He's working on a product now that will like
Yeah.
make that much easier, which, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but that's one of the coolest things about like the space we're in and these AI tools, where it's like, if you solve like a problem and figure out a workflow process, you can almost simultaneously like productize it at the same time
Oh
and then
yeah,
make it available
yeah,
for others. So we're in the process of doing that. Patrick's in the process of doing that. But creating these, top of funnel, shorter form pieces of content that will hopefully draw people in to these longer form pieces of content like this, the full running length of this podcast with, which if you're one of our listeners that just kind of watches all the way through, we massively appreciate you. And hope we're providing you some value and entertainment in doing so. And then after that, we'll be going sort of the other way and figuring out that kind of like bottom of funnel, base of funnel, which we've got plans for a Patreon, which will have like more sort of in-depth, involved education pieces behind there. We've got an idea for like a really sick, like curated zine that we want to do at some point. So
yeah.
the problem with guys like Sway and I is like too many ideas, can't find the time to execute on it all, but we're just kind of taking it step by step. But
Yeah.
there's definitely a sort of master plan and a long vision here that we're just barely still getting going.
Yeah. Everything that if you've been following us since day one, everything that you've seen so far, we're really proud of. I am proud of like how the spaces and the podcast and everything, every piece of content that we put out. I'm like very proud of all of that. But none of that happens by mistake, right? Johnny and I like working on design, working on graphics, I'm working on like who can we bring on next, and I often have to remind myself like this is a we're approaching this very openly, and we're taking artists and illustrators along the way with us. So we're starting to see that we're starting to see the fruits of that of our labor, like hence Johnny now is like doing another like workshop or get together meet up tomorrow, right, with like these artists that you just met literally a week ago in a space.
Yeah,
So
man.
that yeah, that's a sign. It's like, oh, okay, we're doing something right here, right? And we're making all the
Yep.
connections. We're going to talk to more investors. So it is work, and we do rely on you, the community. And yesterday we were talking about like, can we build like a video, like a browser video editor that's like community source? All the assets are there. If you're a fan, just go in and chop it up and like share your favorite bits. Very easy. And share that idea with Patrick. Hopefully he does it because ain't nobody got time for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But really happy you can just really make things nowadays, and
Yep.
again like make products. So there is no excuse. So
Yeah, dude, that's actually a quote I've heard several times in the last few weeks. Shout out the kind of like Portland AI community that is quickly sort of just like organized and has been hanging out a bunch based on like, right, these were all guys you knew from X, Sway. You
yeah.
introduced me to them, and we've all hung out like 2 or 3 times now, and we're doing another happy hour at my studio tomorrow night. But we went to a talk a couple weeks ago, and I had basically family friend. He's just graduated high school. He's about to go to art school. Our friend Kai, and his mom was my wife's business partner, and is like really encouraged Kai to just like go hang out with Jonny, just be in the studio, be around creatives. And he came and hung out with us when it was like myself, Blacklight, Underworld, like all these crazy AI
That's
artists.
so cool.
And it was so cool because like he just started talking to them. And one of the things I heard Underworld say to Kai when he was talking about things he wants to make, he's like, you can just make things. You can just go and make
Yeah,
things. And then Jesse and Builders Club yesterday, we were talking about it again, and it came up, and it's like, you can just do things, like
that's awesome, man.
don't wait for opportunities. Don't wait for businesses or brands to come along and like give you those opportunities, because the place we're in sort of like the generation cycle, the evolution cycle of all this stuff is like, man, just go and get it and do it yourself. And we've never been more capable, empowered, able to do things as just like individuals is right now. And that's part of our big ethos is like, we want to push that even further, right? We want to create products that empower the individuals and
Yeah.
empower the artists. So you can just go and take over the world and like, fuck up these corporations.
Hell yeah, dude. You just reminded me like this. It's kind of cheesy, but I love it. It's like everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change someone's world. And it's like
Mm,
just that advice that they gave to Kai. Is it Kai?
yep.
Yeah, like you can just do anything. Like you don't know what that kid is going through. I like you got to think back for those who graduated a long time ago, being a senior, being lost. It was like starting adulthood, don't know what to study, and you're fighting all these systems in your mind, and like you're trying to find your identity. It's like that goes a long way, and it's cool
Yep.
that we go from digital to physical to like having some sort of like influence on someone's life, mentorship, like all that stuff we need to get back to. And I think the at least from what I've been seeing, everything's kind of like balancing out again. I almost forgot. Just this week alone, we mentioned like at least 3, 4 companies interested in supermodels.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge, right?
Dude, so huge. And just the realization that, right, even before we have a fully baked product that's just like you can just kind of hand off to somebody and they can use on their own, we're realizing like, oh, there are ways to essentially start to use this in real world use cases, which will allow us to better understand what we need to do, what we need to build, and better sort of define the product. But even what we have now, like the working prototype, and almost having, right, we're building sort of this standalone product, but realizing there's this intermediary phase where it's like, oh, there's like a service aspect of this, and we can work with, right, artists, brands, whatever it may be, sort of custom train models on our end, which will allow us to better understand the process and then train somebody up on their end so they can use and leverage all of these things, that we could essentially help monetize ourselves very quickly and like, right, not be beholden to only just kind of like investment money, but it's like, oh wow, we can start a revenue generating business right now based on what
Yeah,
we have. And again, like I was mentioning earlier, like these new tools and the new capabilities, like the same way if you just like go through a process and solve a process, you can sort of productize it at the same time. Like we could almost build this sort of like service-based AI, custom AI model training business as we're developing the product. And it's all just kind of synergistic. That will help, right, the product be better. That will help us be supported and not have like this crazy pressure on us to like, okay, get this thing out right now because we're all already going to be supporting ourselves off of it. And we've got some really exciting prospects lined up. And it's just proof that it's like, oh, this solves a problem that people have and they're interested in getting access
yeah,
yesterday.
and we're talking about big big businesses, studios, big artists. So really excited that we're getting that type of interest so early. You've been messing around with Illustrator, right? That's your go-to program. Like that's literally
Yeah.
everything that we see right now in front behind that laptop. You use Illustrator to make.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely.
what's
I
happening
live in
there?
Illustrator.
Oh yeah, well, look at that.
So yeah, dude, Adobe just launched a really cool new feature, and it felt like Adobe took a while to kind of like, and they're still figuring out like get their footing with like AI and integrating it in their tools. And right, some things more successful than others, but it feels like they're starting to figure out, okay, how do we use these new capabilities? Not just kind of like do what everybody else is doing, but like integrate new capabilities into our existing tools that will sort of really appeal to our existing user base in an interesting way. So, one of the things that they just launched which I've sort of like pulled up some stuff. I've prepped some stuff here, but I haven't
Mm.
actually like hit go and tried this. So we're going to be experiencing it together in real time, which I think will be fun. But it is this new feature called Turntable that allows you to take your flat vector and basically do a generative sort of 3D 360 output of it, so you can have what were just these flat vectors in, essentially like a 3D aspect of sorts. It's not an actual 3D file, but will allow you to sort of like rotate it and view it in any angle and kind of work from there. And I would imagine like combining this with other tools where you can go sort of image to 3D, like you can get multiple references for this stuff now. So it'll just kind of dovetail in these other capabilities and these other products to where, yeah, you'll be able to create like fully sort of modeled, rigged 3D assets out of like flat vectors. But really exciting for those of us that have just been like working in Illustrator for years, which I'm definitely amongst those. So just grab some various pieces here I thought would be interesting to explore. What should we start with, Sway? What should we try out here?
Start with Mr. Piggy there.
Okay, so this is Piggy Banks. This is I'll tell the story after I start this rendering because I watched some videos and it seems like this could take a minute for us to output. So I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you
All right.
the legend of Piggy Banks as I hit this. But essentially, I just select this. I've got my properties panel pulled up over here, and then in theory, I just hit this, and oh yeah, it's going to use some generative credits. Adobe's going to
Okay.
siphon every
It's not free.
input. Uh-oh. So we're already
Uh,
running into issues. This input may lack a clear, well-defined subject. I mean, I think it's pretty well-defined. It could be too simple, too complex, or
it's
contain
insulting you.
elements, making it proceed anyway. Yeah, let's see. If this doesn't work, I can like get rid of his little coins and bags and stuff and see if that cleans it
Yeah.
up. But dude, so this is a sticker set I designed for Facebook in probably 2015, 2016. It's called Piggy Banks, and they basically just wanted like these little like memes, emojis people could use. It was when they were launching Facebook Marketplace, so it was all
Hmm.
about like make a deal, double or nothing. And I just created this character, this funny little piggy banks guy I came up with, and all of these different poses, all these different prompts they had. But dude, it got picked up by this Facebook group, which was it's called Angry Hell. And from what I understand, it was like a giant Facebook group of like online trolls who just like to go across the internet and get people really fired up, and then they come back to Angry Hell and like post their screenshots. Very strange community. But dude,
Yeah.
they got obsessed with Piggy Banks and they made him a meme. And then
No.
all of a sudden, like I had worked on it several years before, and then there was a period of time where I would get emails about Piggy Banks almost weekly, and they're like, "Oh my God, you made Piggy Banks? Can we do an interview with you?" This channel had, or this Facebook group had like hundreds of thousands of people, but they actually started its own sort of group called Piggy Banks Hell, and it was just
Oh
this little
my
character that
God.
became like this meme for this community. So
I'm gonna
that's
start doing
the
some digging, man. See if I can
yeah, dude.
find that.
Yeah, look up Angry Hell or Piggy Banks Hell, and you'll you'll see some of that. Okay, so now it's done it. We've got our output. I basically have this little slider so I can rotate the view. Let's see what we get.
Ooh.
Oh, oh, not
Yeah.
bad. His nose is a
Hey.
little, they didn't do any depth there. The little coins falling out of his purse got weird. Um, so
Eh, not bad.
not bad, not great, but I can definitely see it being useful in some situations. Let's try it with my little PFP guy here, which is a character I've been developing for several years called Professor Mercury that I've got all this like lore and stuff around. But I want to see what it does when we try Professor Mercury with the turntable. More recognizable, I would think, like the skeletal form, would be pretty well trained up, but
Yeah, shouldn't have a
we'll
hard time with
see.
that.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
So this was 2017, 2018. It was, I was, my buddy Tyler, I worked at a brand studio called Factory North. One of my coworkers there, Tyler, he got us really into D&D. We would do like a D&D
Hmm.
night and a bunch of world building stuff. And that just got me in this like world building mindset. And I wanted to develop my own story, develop my own characters. And I just kept coming back to this like skeleton figure that was almost this combination of uh, father time, but kind of flipped. He was almost this like savior figure, but everybody was like afraid of him because they thought he represented death. And like this group of sort of characters just started getting these like transmissions. He started showing up in their dreams, this Professor Mercury character. And then essentially they start creating it in their art, and then they recognize the same character in one another's art. And then they start to like connect the dots through that and would go on this sort of Stranger Things type like adventure epic. But he was sort of like a central character in it.
Wow.
So let's see what they did with. Oh, that got
Ooh,
weird right there. You can see all
yeah.
the vectors, all the lines got blown out. And like this is stuff. I mean, if I wanted to use this again, I would experiment with, because I've still got like all my stroke lines right here. And I wonder if I
Hmm.
like expanded everything and then rotated it, if it would work better. Um, so at this point, I see it as like I could use this as like a different angle reference, but I'm probably still going to have to redraw everything
Right.
because it's kind of like
So
distorting all
can
of
you
my
can you
line
edit
work
it?
pretty bad.
Can you edit
Let's
it there, or do you have like
yeah.
flatten
So
the
this
image?
is this is
Oh,
all vector still, which is crazy. But I think once I've done that, I'm now
there.
locked in and I can't turn it
Yeah,
back.
makes sense.
So you have to like pick your angle. Um, and
So
now
it's
it's
just
just going to probably, I mean, this will be interesting actually to take an angle and then generate more views off of it. Go back to the front on the
back
full
right,
front
the
view and
frontal.
see if it looks similar or if it just creates crazy glitches. But this might be an opportunity to where like you can almost lean into the distortion that's created and just, make some really glitched out weird shit. Oh wow.
Oh, it broke. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
What happened
there
there?
we go.
All right.
Killer. So there you go. Turntable. You know, interesting. Could be useful in some ways. Again, the thing you have to say with all these tools is like it's the worst it'll ever be. So
Yeah. It's
probably limited applications at this point, but as they develop this, as it gets more refined, will be a really cool feature.
cool. Well, I just want to wrap up the tool talk with what's been happening in the Gen AI space with Nano Banana. So Nano
Yeah, dude, I'm
Banana,
excited.
there was this whole talk about this like new image generator editing model that was similar to Flux, but no company was really claiming it. It was just available in some like random website that I got to try, where we were only able to get access to that model through like an A/B testing for prompting and image editing. And if you were lucky, it was like a slot machine. If you were lucky, maybe you'll get an output that used the Nano Banana model. And the whole for the past week, everyone was raving about it while I was doing other things. So today I got to explore a little bit now that it's been revealed who's behind Nano Banana, and it's Google. Google, and they did a great job with this whole marketing Nano Banana.
I'm
Amazing.
fascinated by the marketing campaign aspect of
Oh
this.
god.
I'll let you continue to break it down, but like their approach is really interesting.
really interesting, really interesting. And I played around with it. Now this Nano Banana is Gemini Flash 2.5, which you have access to in the Gemini app and a bunch of other Gen AI platforms. So Adobe Firefly already announced yesterday that they implemented it, and I started messing around with it there. And I know Higgsfield has it, so and it's being used in many creative ways. And let me show you how I use it. So real quick,
Dude, while you pull that up, I just wanted to touch on like the fact that Adobe is already opening up their tools and allowing you to choose different models and import different models to use with their tools is incredible, and right, opens up the possibilities for something like supermodels to where like you create your unique algorithm, your creative DNA as a custom trained LoRa model that sits on top of these foundation models. And now the ecosystem is very quickly adopting this like plug and play architecture to where like you can use right this foundation model with Adobe Firefly. Like, dude, is so exciting. And I'm so thrilled that like Adobe's already doing this, and that like it's already like that first domino is already fallen. Like, this is the way the entire space is going to continue to develop, and it's going to open up all sorts of cool possibilities. So anyway,
yeah.
please continue.
And, no. That's great that you mentioned that because it's really exciting news for supermodels because that's the goal, right? How can you take supermodels anywhere, everywhere you want because it's yours? So just think of it this way. Think about you taking your own playlist into any club that you want, right? Because it's the playlist that you respond to, dance to, and feel more free to. Platforms like Adobe gives us hope. Runway just implemented VO3 not too long ago. Yes, when you do turn on these models, there are certain features that don't work. So for example, all the styling features, upscaling features, lighting, and etc. that Firefly offers with their proprietary model, that that's disabled as soon as you use a third party model.
Mm.
Which I guess it makes sense, right? Because it's not part of the system. Um, and it keeps everything in house if you want to continue using their platform and generate inside there. So I started generating some stuff. So here on screen, you see I took some pictures today of me, leaning my head on my coffee mug, which I love so much. The cool thing about the Nano Banana is that I'm gonna keep calling it Nano Banana is that it just responds to natural language prompting. Okay, this is not JSON. This is not crazy prompt rocket science engineering. No, I just simply ask, replace that red mug with a fluffy, bird, a fluffy a chick, yellow baby chick, and it did just that.
And
So
yeah,
yeah,
and like Flux, right? The whole thing Sway is like it's context aware, so it allows you to
very.
take like an existing image and then add something, change something, reskin it. That's sort of like the whole unique feature skill set, right?
Yep. Yep. Very, very, very similar. So those two are kind of like head to head that. Um, yeah, I mean, if you look at just the details of like my fingers, right? Because I was
Hmm.
gonna say like, oh, it recreated my fingers. No, it's my
Wow.
fingers, and they did
Yeah.
such a great job.
Look at
Just
that
adding
cute little
that
chick
little,
snuggling up to
yeah,
you.
yeah. Only thing missing maybe a bit shadows. This is very cartoonish,
Yep.
but
Yep.
here's another thing I tried. So, Western Cowboys Sway,
Yeah.
holding
Yeah.
up his iPhone 15 as if it was a pistol. The idea here was to add some background elements and also replace that with a cucumber. So, and add
As one
googly
does,
eyes,
right? Yeah.
right? Add those funky googly eye glasses with the springs on it,
Dude, look at the
and it did,
shadow under from the glasses on your face. Like, that is
dude.
impressive.
Yes,
Just that
very.
little. Yep.
Very. Again, this is very like the chick, very caricature, very cartoony, but fun. Supposed to be a
Mm-hmm.
fun prompt. Um, Not too happy with the bananas. It feels a little bit not real, but hey,
Depth of field didn't
lo-
work out so well on those.
yeah, yeah. And I think that was because of the prompting because I said add some blur to the banana to the background, so it added
Okay.
blur, and that just didn't match with
Oh
the
yeah, it's
deep
supposed to be
deep
maybe more
focus
of a
here. So
motion blur.
yeah, and the
Got egg
classic
on your face.
got egged,
Sunny
and
side sway.
Sunny Side Sway specifically told it to replace the glasses, the shades, with two fried eggs over my face. I wanted the eggs to be drippy, gooey, and for it to fall over my clothes. Prompted just very similar to that, and
That's the
did a
best
great
one.
job. And these are things again that you can just take over to your favorite video model, Runway, Higgs Field, uh, Pika Labs, Luma Labs, whatever, all the labs and all the AI stuff. Just take it there and just animate it and have fun with it. So Nano Banana, really neat what they're doing. Excited, much more further testing. Seems like their focus is on character consistency and environment consistency, which gets me really excited because that's the sort of thing that we need, especially for the movie project that we're working on. So looking
Yep.
for those kind of solutions, and it's nice that we get to put Nano Banana in our tool set toolkit.
Yep.
Today, I read the quote before we hit record, just to kind of let that sit in the background and see what you can come up with. But again, I picked up the book, Creative Act from
Dun,
Rick
dun,
Rubin,
dun. Yep.
our our in-house guru resident,
Our in-house creative
and
guru. Yeah.
right, um, and I just opened it, and this is what I end up landing on. If you are open and stay tuned to what's happening, the answers will be revealed. Cool, huh?
Yep.
It makes me think immediately to something very like practical and mundane. To this podcast, right? We're thinking about all the segments. We're thinking about what we're going to talk about next. You can overplan things, right? And some days you can be like, we don't want to ramble, right? We want to keep this tight, but you also have that worry, like what I'm going to say. But we're artists, right? We have to stay just tuned and connected with each other and open, and things will happen. And surprisingly, we're coming almost close to like 60 minutes, and things just that we had a wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
Wonderful, because we stayed tuned and open.
Yep. Yeah. And it just kind of flows. Um, and speaking of flow, it takes me back to, right, something we touched on last week and the week before about the two different hemispheres of the brain, right? The sort of left hemisphere, which is actually associated with the right side of your body, it's much more analytical, much more sort of step by step, kind of more judgmental in a lot of ways, rational. And it's like this tight focus. It's being like so in the details, which again is great for certain things, but the right hemisphere associated with the left side of your body is this more open awareness, right? It's just being able to stand back, take everything in, and just kind of absorb what's coming to you. So when I hear that quote, this idea of just being open and then, right, the answers will be revealed to you. I think about being in that more sort of creative, intuitive side of your
Mhm.
brain, not being too judgmental on anything, not right hopping to conclusions ahead of time, but just sort of standing back, observing, taking in all the available information, and then going from there. And I was actually just listening to Rick Rubin's podcast, Telegrammatron, which is really good. Highly recommended to everybody. He had a neuroscientist on, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's got several good books. I've read several of his pieces. And they were talking about exactly this and referencing it into where it's almost this like synchronistic,
Mm.
right? It can be these synchronistic effects and sort of events. Rick Rubin was talking about he wasn't feeling well. He found out, I think his like gallbladder or something needed to be removed, and then he was very hesitant about it. Like he's needle phobic. He does not want to be cut open. And he said, basically, he went to the doctor. They're like, you need to go to the ER right now, get this removed. And he's like, are there other options? What's
Mhm.
available? And the doctor had mentioned, he's like, well, in Europe, they kind of just like, do a bunch of antibiotics and they don't necessarily like move to surgery right away. And he's like, I want that. I want the European route. And he's like, go to the ER and then see what they say. But in between his appointments, he wandered into a bookshop and he found some sort of book that was just on an end cap. And he opened a page and it was basically saying like, if somebody wants to cut you open and remove something from your body and they tell you it doesn't do anything, right, be weary of
You're right.
that. Like, because everything has a function and they probably just don't fully understand it yet. But Rick Rubin was pointing this out, is like, what are the chances that like I'm in this situation, I'm contemplating these things, I wander into a random bookstore to kill time, open a random book, and right there is sort of the answer I was looking for. Like
Yeah.
you just kind of flipping the book open sway and
Right.
landing on this, right? There's more magic in the world than a lot of people want to give credence to. So just like, yeah, taking a stance of non-judgment and being open to that stuff, you do find that the answers you need are right there.
Ooh, that's a great ending. The answers you need are right there, and we'll continue looking for the answers. So and we'll continue being open and tuned. Thank you for watching this podcast, for being with us, spending time with us. Um, don't forget, we drop this podcast every Tuesday on YouTube and X. We were this week we're going to have Von Doom. So by
Yeah,
the time
big
you
one.
see this, yeah, by the time you see this, we already recorded with him. So it's huge, huge, huge creator, influencer, leader in the metaverse and gaming space for Web3 and crypto. Really excited to have him with us, and that's happening Friday. And every Friday we chat with really cool people. So we'll love to have you there. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.